too a little bit. Now you have children, right?
Yes, yes I do. I have 3 very lively youngsters. Before I talk about them, I do want to talk a little bit about my parents, if that's okay.
Yeah.
As being in Martin County, my parents are, as Robert Fletcher. Got the nickname because his dad was Bob and Bobcat, and shortened it down to Cat. But anyway, my dad was a magistrate a long time in the Martin County, in the Pigeonhurst area, District 4. He took part in opening a fire department in the Pigeonhurst area, which was unheard of. And I really, you think about the Pigeonhurst area, it's a very rural area of Martin County, so to have something like a fire department come in was a big step.
Yeah.
So that was something he was very instrumental in making happen, along with a lot of the community members there in Martin County and in the Pigeonhurst area. He was also president of the baseball league there in Martin County for a while. We always had everything that we needed to serve. He worked hard. My mom is Ellen Faye Fletcher. Her maiden name is Jude. Of course, my grandparents are pretty well known in the Martin County area from that end. Butler named Lyle Jude were my grandparents there, and Robert and Susie Fletcher were my grandparents. But my mom was a housewife, still is a housewife, and I'm so thankful I came home each day and that we had food on the table. Our clothes were always clean, and we always had mommy there to look after us. So had a very, very blessed family life. Don't get me wrong, there's times that as every teenage son, there's tough times with dad, but all those added to who I am today. My in-laws, of course, A.J. Haney was the principal at Sheldon Clark for 27 years, and his wife, Mary Lou, was the guidance counselor at Sheldon Clark and Inez Middle. Both were huge parts of the, for example, they started girls basketball again in the 70s in Martin County. As a matter of fact, I don't think they lost a district game from 76 to 86. And then after they retired, they lost one. And my mother-in-law still cries when she thinks about that. But anyway, they were a big part of the educational system. Now, all that goes into who my 3 kids are.
Yeah.
My grandparents, their grandparents, we have to reprogram them a lot when they go stay with grandparents, just as many do. But my oldest, her name is Abigail. I'm very biased, but I think she's a very good softball player. She's a very good academic student.
How old is she?
She'll be in 8th grade. She'll be an 8th grader, and she's a lot like her mother, so that's a good thing. Jacob, my oldest son, I really feel like that he has potential to be a missionary someday. He really has a heart for the Lord, and even as a 10-year-old, I can see that. He's my gentle spirit of the 3. But he's a good baseball player. He plays on the all-star team. He's my travel buddy. So usually when I go places, he's there with me. So when football games go on, don't be surprised if there's another little bulldog right next to me with Jacob. My 3rd, Eli Nathan, is he's the baby, and he'll be a 2nd grader. He's the most energetic of the 3. He is also a baseball player. He surprises me each day of how intelligent and how the things that he says it comes out of his mouth. But I also with being the baby, it comes to those things like, man, where do we go wrong sometimes? But now he's a good kid, and but he's been the one that has always challenged us, not in a bad way, but to say, okay, he's a little more energetic than the other 2. How do we handle that? But overall, I've been blessed with 3 very, very good kids.
I've always found it interesting how siblings,
fun to be around. All 3 of them. I could sit down and have conversations with my 3 kids that I would with adults, and be very happy with just being with them, and my wife, of course, too. My peeps, as we call each other. So they're great.
Well, Lawrence County and Martin County were neighbors.
Absolutely.
But what's it been like for you coming from a neighboring county into our school system now? I mean, does that have been difficult?
Well, we've competed for so long on the ball courts, on the football field,
sitting in front of the Bulldog. That was intentional. So.
But in each situation, for example, there was a mutual respect between our 2 basketball coaches. Lawrence County did beat Sheldon Clark out this year. The year before, I think Sheldon Clark beat Lawrence County out. So just with basketball, there was a mutual respect between the two head coaches that was fun to watch,
Yeah.
and they always were talking to each other. But it was always you knew it was a tough game if you played Lawrence County basketball. Of course, there's so much tradition here athletically. It's been fun to see how the people here handle different athletic programs, because there's a lot of support.
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a lot of community support, and that's something
Big time,
that
yeah.
Lawrence County needs to be very proud of. I mean, there's a lot of support in Martin County too, but the community support here in Lawrence County for their athletic and also their extracurricular is very impressive. So coming from a neighboring county, I've also had the opportunity to be in a lot of trainings with the educators in this building in Lawrence County High School, and also throughout the district. So I knew a lot of the people, and to be honest, we've shared ideas over the years. So going from Martin to Lawrence wasn't a big difference, other than looking at a different place to work, because there's a lot of ideas that we've shared over the years, and I've gotten to know people, which has been very good. Not a lot of people know this, but I have a lot of family here in Lawrence County. The Nats Creek area is covered with Fletchers, so so I have a lot of family here, and it's been fun to go. I visited all the schools one day, and there were two kids that came up, and they were just, hey, we're cousins, and they went through and told me exactly how we were cousins, and so there's a lot of family here too. So it's although it's different, there's a lot of similarities, but you know what, kids are kids, and no matter where you are, whether it be Bourbon, Williamstown, Lawrence, Martin, just the opportunity to work with kids is invaluable.
Well, with us being this close, just a neighboring county, it is quite different than if you had come from the other part of the state,
Sure.
not knowing anything about our area, so. But, there has been some controversy over just the fact that an outside resident, was hired as the superintendent, and some people think, that maybe the superintendent should live here in the county, and others have said, they don't think it matters. So, there's been some talk both ways, but what's your feelings on that?
Well, I fully understand when people are uneasy about that. Coming in as a superintendent, one of the things, allow me to be a resident for just a second. Let's say that, I'm in Lawrence County, and they hire someone from outside the county, I'm going to have reservations. So the reservations that people are having, I fully understand. But I hope to win people over by how they see me in the community, be a part of the community. We are looking at houses in the Lawrence County area, and we are strongly considering moving. We're not there yet, but we are considering moving, and more than likely we will. Will that happen in the next 2 months? I don't know. It's just one of the things to, I have a house to sell in Martin County, and also to purchase one here. But I will say this, there have been so many people that come out and said, Rob, have you seen this house? Have you seen this house? And I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
And taking me to places, let me see different communities. And I've gotten to learn more about the roads here in Lawrence County, and about the different communities in Lawrence County.
Yeah.
And so that process has been very fun. But we have been looking at houses here. We have been, talking with real estate agents about selling our house also. So that's something that the process is going to happen, I believe, and then we'll go from there. But as far as people, there's been a lot of people that say, we think the person ought to live here, and I understand that, and and I agree with that. No argument whatsoever. I just pray for patience, that they'll give me patience to say, it's going to take a little while. And those 3 kids I talked about before, moving them to a new area. I think in going through each of the 3, we talked a little bit about Eli, but Eli would probably be the one that just automatically jumps in and is ready to go. But again, it's going to be a process to move them into this area. But this fall, we do plan on having our kids in the Lawrence County school system.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Come this fall?
Come this fall, yes.
Well, now, as far as like your contract, is your contract with Lawrence County High School, is it for a certain period of time? Or?
With the Lawrence County District, it is a 4-year contract, which is pretty much the traditional contract you see, the 4-year contract.
A standard, isn't it?
Yes, it's a standard contract, 4 years.
So going forward, what plans or any immediate plans do you have for the Lawrence County School District, or any goals that you're setting right now?
Well, to start off, I think that, as an outsider, quote-unquote outsider coming in, the first thing I need to do is work on building trust and getting to know people. I don't think that any person, any superintendent, where you live in the county or outside the county, you need to understand the processes are in place. There's so many things that Lawrence County needs to be very proud of. And for me to come in and say, we need to change this, that's wrong. Now, are there things that can be tweaked? Yes, but I need to be here long enough to see that. I need to see the processes in place. I need to see what's happening. Now, do I have some things that are on my plate? I think I would love to see. I need to learn more about what the elementaries do for academic teams.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see the academic teams, leagues with academic teams, which they may already have. I just got to learn more about that. A response to intervention program. My doctorate is in response to intervention at the secondary level, which is basically what are we doing with all kids to help them learn. And when that doesn't work, what are we doing next in small groups to help kids learn? If that doesn't work, what are we doing in one-on-one situations to help kids learn? So I do have a vested interest in a response to intervention system and taking the things that are already in place and organizing that into an area so I and all the people here can help each individual child. So a response to intervention system, academic teams. And then the next thing too, I think we need to celebrate our traditions here. We're building an academic tradition. We have a state champ at the middle school, which is phenomenal. They come from good stock from their mommy's side. Both of the young ladies, the Cecil girls. No offense, Joey. And also the high school won the district, I think, for the first time in maybe 15 years. So the traditions are building there academically, and the high school was they met they were proficient last year. Hopefully they're proficient again this year. We want to sustain that, but also look at your baseball program. State runner-up, I think 2008. Football program is always year in, year out, very competitive and always a contender. The soccer program, the volleyball program, girls basketball's had some up years and down years, and looks like that they're getting it together to have another up year. Your academic team, there's so many programs that just have a rich tradition. We need to celebrate those and continue those. So I'm a big proponent of being there at the athletic events. I think the kids need to see me there and know that I support them, because especially my 3 kids are going to be here. I'm not supporting them, I'm supporting my kids too. So,
but you're still going to be a Cardinal too, right?
Well, it would be hard to not root for Sheldon Clark High School. I graduated from Sheldon Clark. There's always going to be a part of me that's going to wish the absolute best for those kids.
Oh, of course.
And I'm still a phone call away. If any kid in the Sheldon Clark area and Martin County ever says I need to talk to Robbie Fletcher, they can tweet me, or they can call, they can text, whatever they want to do. I'll be here to help. But at this point, if Lawrence County plays Sheldon Clark, go Bulldogs.
All right.
Go Bulldogs.
Good answer. Anything else that you'd like to tell our viewers, Dr. Fletcher, before we sign off here?
Well, one of the things that, as far as with the viewers, I'd like to talk about is I appreciate the opportunity. There is no greater responsibility than the fact of someone saying, I'm allowing you to take care of my kids.
Absolutely.
We talk about sending kids to school. We want them educated. We want them to have the best education, but we also, more importantly, want them to be safe. And for a group, a community to say, we want you to take care of our kids, our children, that's a compliment. That's maybe the best compliment you can give someone. I'm going to allow you to babysit my children. I'm going to allow you to be the principal of my kids. I'm going to allow you to be the superintendent. But it's not only a compliment, but it's also a huge responsibility. I don't take that lightly. I'm very, very humbled by the fact that they're giving me this opportunity. It'll be my job to not disappoint them and to be there for them. I may disagree with adults, but I promise you that I'll do the best for the kids in Lawrence County, for our kids in Lawrence County.
Okay. Well, once again, welcome, and thanks for taking this time to talk to us. And I know everybody's going to appreciate it.